Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Perkenalkan, saya Fitria Nurhamida, dosen tetap Politeknik Negeri Malang, PSDKU Kediri. Dengan ini saya menyatakan bahwa saya benar-benar mengampu mata kuliah Bahasa Inggris Bisnis 1. Dan saya akan menjelaskan mengenai mata kuliah yang saya ampu, yakni Bahasa Inggris Bisnis 1. Mata kuliah Bahasa Inggris Bisnis 1 berbobot 2 SKS yang ditempuh oleh mahasiswa semester 3 Program Studi D3 Akuntansi Politeknik Negeri Malang PSDKU Kediri. Deskripsi mata kuliah ini adalah mata kuliah ini memberikan bekal pengetahuan dasar bahasa Inggris tentang English for Specific Purposes, terutama English for Business, yang diberikan melalui materi-materi yang diajarkan dalam penggunaan bahasa Inggris di ruang lingkup bisnis melalui 4 skill bahasa Inggris, yakni listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Mata kuliah Bahasa Inggris Bisnis 1 ini memiliki capaian pembelajaran. Capaian pembelajarannya adalah mahasiswa mampu berkomunikasi secara lisan, tulisan, mendengar, dan membaca dalam bahasa Inggris dengan topik-topik tertentu dalam role play, simulasi, dan atau berdiskusi dengan kelompok dengan menggunakan kosakata dan struktur kalimat yang bisa dipahami dengan benar. Dalam mencapai capaian pembelajaran tersebut tentunya ada kompetensi yang diharapkan. Yang pertama, mahasiswa mampu mengetahui materi-materi apa saja yang akan dipelajari dalam satu semester dan dapat menjelaskan identitas pribadinya. 2. Mahasiswa mampu mendeskripsikan dan menjelaskan problems and solution in a business area. Yang ketiga, mahasiswa mampu menjelaskan tentang product coming on maturity stage. Yang selanjutnya, mahasiswa mampu menjelaskan dan berdebat tentang bisnis etiquette. Dan yang terakhir, mahasiswa mampu menjelaskan innovation creating a project that has been occurred in business world. Nah, dalam perkuliahan ini tentunya ada materi-materi yang diberikan kepada mahasiswa dalam satu semester. Di Politeknik Negeri Malang dalam satu semester terdiri dari 17 pertemuan, dan 17 pertemuan tersebut juga meliputi satu pertemuan middle test dan satu pertemuan final test. Sehingga ada 15 materi yang didiskusikan dan dipelajari oleh mahasiswa. Materi-materi yang diajarkan adalah Introduction to the Course, Problems and Solution in Business Area Hijacking, Problems and Solution in Business Area Unreached and Profit Target, Problems and Solution in Business Area Fire and Corruption, Problems and Solution in Business Area Bad Management and Competition, Students Speaking Practice about Problems and Solution in Business Area, Product Coming on Maturity Stage, Modifying Product, the Human Resource Skill, Product Coming on Maturity Stage, Modifying Product, Developing the Human Resource Skill, Management Strategies Improvement, Product Coming on the Maturity Stage, Product and Sales Analysis System, Financial Analysis, Marketing Strategies Improvement. Product Coming on Maturity Stage, Improving the Quality of the Staff and Redesigning the Store, Business Etiquette Debate, Innovation, Creating a Project that has been occurred in a business world, Coquelin Island, containing a fabric, a gallery, and Coquelin field. Innovation, creating a project that has been occurred in business world, a library, a restaurant, a garden and waterfall, and Coquelin cottage. Innovation, creating a project that has been occurred in a business world, a tourism project under the sea, a hotel, a library, a gallery, a restaurant, and a movie. Dan yang terakhir adalah innovation, creating a project that has been occurred in a business world, a tourism object under the sea, sports center, shopping center, a tourism object under the sea, such as a train transportation under the sea from Indonesia to Holland. Nah, dalam melaksanakan dan memberikan materi-materi tersebut, tentunya ada yang namanya DIA, Delivery, Interaction, and Assessment. Dalam menyampaikan materi dalam sistem perkuliahan yang kita lakukan pada masa pandemi COVID-19 ini adalah yakni perkuliahan daring atau perkuliahan online. Nah, dalam melakukan perkuliahan tersebut tentunya ada metode pembelajaran yang diberikan. Yang pertama, bagaimana dosen memberikan atau delivery the material, yakni yang pertama menggunakan giving instruction. Giving instruction merupakan strategi instruksional yang dosen memberikan instruksi dengan jelas kepada mahasiswa dengan menggunakan buku ajar English for Business, di mana dosen memberikan arahan dengan jelas dan pemecahan masalah, topik, dan memberikan motivasi kepada mahasiswa di setiap pertemuan. Yang kedua, yakni take and give. Mahasiswa dapat mengambil informasi dari penjelasan dosen dan memberikan penjelasan dengan topik-topik yang diberikan, dan mahasiswa pun memberikan exercise atau tugas yang diberikan kepada dosen. Selanjutnya, cooperative learning. Meskipun pada pembelajaran online ini mahasiswa juga dituntut untuk belajar berkelompok dan diskusi berkelompok serta mempresentasikan materi atau topik yang telah diberikan. Dan selanjutnya yaitu menggunakan role play dalam mendemonstrasikan dan mempraktekkan conversation. Tentunya mahasiswa harus mempraktekkan topik dalam conversation, maka dosen menggunakan metode pembelajaran role play. Selanjutnya, interaction. Bagaimana dosen berkomunikasi atau berinteraksi dengan mahasiswa? Yang pertama, menggunakan Telegram dan Line Group. Kemudian yang ketiga, menggunakan Facebook Group. Facebook Group di sini digunakan untuk mengupload materi-materi yang telah diajarkan dan tugas-tugas dari mahasiswa yang dikumpulkan. Dan untuk menjelaskan materi dan ketika mahasiswa mempresentasikan topik-topik tertentu, maka perkuliahan ini menggunakan media Zoom. Setelah adanya metode pembelajaran, maka tentu ada yang namanya assessment. Assessment di sini adalah berdasarkan kesepakatan antara mahasiswa dan dosen di awal pertemuan, yakni di introduction to the course atau penjelasan materi pada satu semester dan kontrak kuliah. Dalam memberikan penilaian atau assessment tersebut tentunya ada beberapa indikator. Yang pertama, ketepatan dalam menjawab pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang diberikan pada topik-topik di listening comprehension, ketepatan dalam menjelaskan dan mendeskripsikan problems and solution in business area, ketepatan dalam menggunakan kosakata fluency ketika mahasiswa practice conversation in speaking practice, ketepatan dalam menjelaskan product coming on maturity stage, ketepatan dalam memberikan gagasan atau menyampaikan ide pada saat debate tentang bisnis etiket, dan ketepatan dalam menjelaskan innovation creating a project that has been occurred in the business world. Nah, dari beberapa indikator tersebut, maka berdasarkan kesepakatan mahasiswa dan dosen, Maka ada kriteria penilaian di akhir semester. Yang pertama, active participation. Yang kedua, tugas individu atau individual task. Yang ketiga, group discussion. Yang keempat, middle test, dan yang terakhir, final test. Dari beberapa kriteria tersebut dijumlahkan menjadi 100% yang nantinya akan menjadi nilai akhir mahasiswa di akhir semester yang menempuh mata kuliah Bahasa Inggris 1. Demikian penjelasan tentang mata kuliah Bahasa Inggris 1, dan berikut adalah cuplikan video tentang perkuliahan mata kuliah Bahasa Inggris 1 tentang Problems and Solution in Business Area Hijacking.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Miss.
Okay, how's life today?
I'm fine.
I'm
Okay.
fine.
I'm fine.
Okay, I'm also fine today. And well, today we would like to discuss about problem and solution in a business area, that is hijacking. Yeah, one of you, do you know about hijacking in a business area? Ada yang tahu apa itu? Pembajakan. Okay, good. Well, some of you know about what is hijacking. In Indonesia, we can call it pembajakan. Okay, good. I would like to explain about what is hijacking, because hijacking is one of the problem in business area. Yeah. Well, I would like to share screen. Okay, well, today we will discuss about problem and solution in business area, that is hijacking. Well, the first one is, what is hijacking? Yeah, the definition of hijacking is hijack the data on a company for own interest, for enriching other people or other companies. Jadi hijacking itu adalah menghijack atau membajak data pada sebuah perusahaan untuk kepentingan sendiri, memperkaya orang lain atau perusahaan lain. That is definition of hijacking. And of course, in a business, there is a company hijacking. And what is a company hijacking? Company hijacking is done by someone obtaining the right to represent your company on false ground. Jadi company hijacking di sini dilakukan oleh seseorang ya untuk merepresentasikan perusahaan Anda pada false ground. And then the purpose is to withdraw money by goods stock a company or using it for other fraudulent activities. Jadi tujuannya adalah untuk withdraw money, kemudian membeli barang melalui sebuah perusahaan atau menggunakannya pada aktivitas yang fraudulent. And next is the examples of hijacking. Contoh hijacking. Sebenarnya banyak sekali contoh hijacking, but here I give you only two examples. The first is corporate identity fraud occurs when a fraudster file hard copy forms at company's house to change a company's details. For example, registered office and officers. They then trade on the company's goodwill or perpetrate further illegal activity in its name. Jadi di situ ada kecurangan identitas perusahaan di mana a fraudcaster itu yang memiliki filenya itu dari company house ke company lain ya. Contohnya adalah misalkan adanya daftar perusahaan yang sudah terdaftar atau pegawainya. Kemudian mereka menjual ke company goodwill itu dan melakukannya bahkan dengan illegal activity. And the second examples in activities which a company that is in it of new employees try to offer the job to a targeted candidate, the company is embedded employees aimed at becoming officials or features who hold an important contribution in the company. If the hijack process is successfully carried out and the employee gets success, there must be a big possibility to re-enroll one of the previous teams. The company which is hijacked will certainly experience a high turnover and will make an impact on the performance of the company. Jadi ada sebuah aktivitas di mana ada perusahaan itu membutuhkan karyawan baru dan mencoba untuk menawarkannya kepada kandidat yang ditargetkan dari perusahaan lain. Ditawarkan memiliki kontribusi yang bagus di perusahaannya, kemudian menempatkan di posisi yang bagus, ditawarkan gaji yang lebih besar, tapi tidak menutup kemungkinan setelah mendapatkan itu semua mere-enroll lagi previous team yang ada di perusahaan itu tadi. Lah, kemudian company yang terhijack tentunya memiliki pengalaman ya dan memiliki impact kepada performance perusahaannya. Oke, sampai di sini tentang problem and solution in business area, especially about hijacking. Is there any questions? Ada pertanyaan sampai di sini?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, next let's discuss about the video. I have a video that is something like a podcast video, but this is only the audio, yeah, which can watch and also listen together. Okay, after we watch and listen together the video or this podcast, I would like give you some questions and you can answer my question directly. Okay, let's start to watch this video and also listen it.
Welcome to Deezen Shira and Associates series of podcasts. My name is Cynthia. With me today is Chet, International Business Advisory Manager here in our Beijing office. Deezen Shira and Associates is a specialist foreign direct investment practice providing corporate establishment, business advisory, tax advisory and compliance, accounting, payroll, due diligence, and financial review services to multinationals investing in emerging Asia. Since its establishment in 1992, the firm has grown into one of Asia's most versatile full-service consultancies, with operational offices across China, Hong Kong, India, Singapore, and Vietnam, in addition to alliances in Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, and Thailand, as well as liaison offices in Italy, Germany, and the United States. Today, we'll be talking about corporate hijacking. Chet, why don't you tell us about what is corporate hijacking and why is it important for foreign investors?
Thank you. That's a great question. Fraud is a common subject of discussion in China, but not so common is the subject of corporate hijacking. But it's still prevalent. Corporate hijacking is a problem in China, and it's something foreign investors need to be aware of in addition to the traditional regular corporate fraud. Corporate hijacking is very different than corporate fraud in the sense that it's a very open and overt seizure of control of the company's corporate legal structure, whereas traditional corporate fraud is a more subtle, secret thing that is done discreetly. So that's the difference between the two, and yet both are very important for foreign investors to be aware of here in China.
Thank you, Chet. Can you tell us about the anatomy of corporate hijacking and how can foreign investors avoid it when operating in China?
The anatomy of a corporate hijacking is very important to think about in order to answer the second part of your question, how can foreign investors avoid it? So there are certain control points in a corporate structure that allow someone to seize control of the legal structure. And those control points typically are the physical chops of the company, the corporate chops or seals. Another control point is key positions in the company, such as being the legal representative or other senior manager. Another control point is related to the finances of the company, And one is just who is the accounting firm or audit firm, and also who is registered as having access to the bank accounts. And there are some other control points in the company too. For instance, obviously, the person who controls access to the facilities or the premises of a company, that would be a control point. And also, there are certain critical assets. Besides the facilities, there may be equipment, there may be VAT, printers. So being aware of these control points and who is managing those control points is the key to avoiding a corporate hijacking. So corporate hijacking is more likely to occur in certain circumstances, perhaps where new management is coming into the company and wants to conduct a review of the finances, and maybe local managers fear that some malfeasance, some poor practices may come to light. They may react defensively. Also, if somebody is being considered for termination and they're aware of that, they may react defensively. They may seek to try to seize one of these control points, company chops, the financial records, or who is maintaining them, the bank account. They may choose to use their control or their access to those control points to seize control of the legal structure of the company, and then maybe use that as leverage to negotiate severance pay, higher severance pay, or some other kind of benefit in anticipation perhaps of them being fired or terminated. That's the anatomy of corporate hijacking, and those are the control points. And it's important for foreign investors to understand those control points so that they can prevent them from being seized and then used for leverage for some kind of benefit. So the other thing to think about here, and it's mentioned in the article, Anatomy of Corporate Hijacking, is just that unlike in Western companies and business contexts, it's very difficult to fire somebody here in China. So this is an exacerbating factor that makes a corporate hijacking more difficult to manage. Rather than being able to immediately terminate and remove somebody from a key position in a Chinese corporation, there may need to be a very carefully orchestrated termination and severance, because if it's not done properly, there can be legal ramifications for firing the employee without cause. Also, if the person has the key role of legal representative, even though they may be fired and even removed from, say, the company's premises, they're still in the corporate records on public file with the Chinese Administration of Industry and Commerce. That person will still be on file as a legal representative and ostensibly have the full power and authority to bind the company. So understanding how to terminate somebody consistent with Chinese labor law, and also terminating somebody in a way that they are removed from the public records as legal representative as quickly as possible, are two other key factors to keep in mind to prevent a company from being hijacked.
Thank you very much, Chet. Your insight on this topic is very valuable. Thank you for joining us today. For further insight into regional economic environment in Asia, please visit our publishing subsidiary Asia Briefing at www.asiabriefing.com. Here you can find news, commentary, magazines, guides, multimedia, and more, which help guide foreign investment in emerging Asia.
Okay, thank you for watching and listen this video or this podcast. I would like to stop share first. Well, it's time for us to discuss about the video. I would like give you some questions, and then one of you who can answer my question, of course, you will get the point. Yeah. The first is, what is the title of that discussion in that video?
Video is the anatomy of corporate hijacking.
Okay, good. Next, the second is, who is the woman talking in that video?
Saya Miss
Yes,
Cynthia.
Cynthia. Okay, yes, yeah. Nida, thank you. And next is, who is the boy? Who is the name of the boy?
Saya Miss
Yes,
Jet.
Cat. Okay. Next is, what is the corporate hijacking based on the video?
Saya Miss.
Yes, Sekar. Okay.
Corporate hijacking is done by someone obtaining the right to representative your company on false ground.
Okay, good. And you can edit your answer by the investor to be aware for corporate from illegal instruction. Yeah. Next is how the investor avoid the corporate hijacking.
Saya Miss.
Yes, Rida. Nice voice.
Control financial, set
Yes.
access facilities, and
Yes.
managing control point.
Okay. Next, is there any other answer? Ada yang mau jawab yang lain?
Saya Miss.
Yes, Mona Lisa.
Being aware to the control point and
Yes.
who managing this control point is the key of avoiding.
Okay, good. All of you can answer how the investor avoid the corporate hijacking. It is something like how to protect corporate hijacking. Yeah. Next is where did the hijacking happen there?
In China.
China. Okay, all of you knows. And here I would like to give a conclusion. The video is talking about the anatomy of corporate hijacking, and then there is a definition and also how the investor to avoid it, something like control financial and then control point, control the asset, etc. Okay. Thanks very much for you can answer my question well, and you can really active today. Okay, thank you. And the last I say sorry, for your assignment or your exercise, I would like to upload in our FB group, and then you can submit it in comment space in our FB group. Okay, thank you for today in this English for Business 1 subject. And the last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Miss.